From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big evening of Evenings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021 and that RECON that could go for a vote tonight. Yes, we have a deal with that RECON. Price tag unknown, potentially 1.95, and this is a RECON that'll pay you upwards of $15,000 across 3 clusters of many different checks. The breaking news tonight is that a deal has been reached among House Democrats, but will the vote happen tonight? Second attempt, as Nancy Pelosi called the vote yesterday and then stalled it up and delayed it to Friday. Will the vote happen tonight? And if it's not tonight, will it be tomorrow? I'll be in the live chat as the show debuts so I can give you the latest breaking details as the nuances happen. Price tag 1.75, no. It's likely 1.95 tonight, and this is causing a question across the board for those voting Democrats. How much are we paying for in this RECON? Price tag 1.95 and programs in. Yes, 3 of 3 programs, which I told you were going to go into this RECON, have now been added. The incredible great news about these programs added to this RECON. Oh, wow. This is big because new checks that I did not know were in this RECON have been added in, and I have the latest details on what they are tonight. Then we turn to student loan debt. As more debt could be forgiven, whose debts are going to be forgiven next? I have the latest details in tonight's recording. And then we go to the exciting details of this stimulus, which comes right behind this. This is after that COLA raise of 5.9%. It's a big evening with the breaking news, all as what I predicted. We started the week with me saying that Nancy would attempt the vote on Thursday night. She did. That Nancy would attempt the vote again. She did. That Nancy would do the concurrently with the roads and bridges. She is. That 3 provisions would be added in. They are. That the senators are vowing to add a lot of stuff in. They are. It's a big evening. The only thing I incorrectly predicted is my bacon. It's still missing. You know, I'm going to stop making bacon predictions, but everything else is going right so far. And it's a big evening, and it starts right now. Live chat with you because the breaking news is that the RECON could be happening for a vote after or while this show is airing at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The vote could happen as late as midnight Eastern Standard Time, which is 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. The programs in and programs out causing confusion about the price tag. Will they solve it by the time of the vote tonight? I'll have the details. And what are those programs? 3 of 3 programs I said would be added in have been added in, but get ready for the senators because they're adding more provisions across the board. What are those provisions? I'll have them in this recording. Then we turn to student loan debt. More debt could be forgiven across the board. That is $10,000. And then, fifth stimulus, which comes right after that. It's a big evening. I'm really excited for you. Are you strolling on the pier where the Wi-Fi is really good? Are you looking for $12 ice cream? That is not in the RECON, but everything else is. And this is LALATE, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America, live in the morning, taped in the afternoons, and America's most talked about channel for a reason. You have seen the in-depth, accurate, predictive reporting of this channel, and tonight, everything that I predicted this week would happen has happened. And tonight, bring it on camera, Lily, this much research and notes, it just makes $12 ice cream look cheap. So subscribe, like this video, and consider becoming a member. Let's go right into the nuances of what's happening. 3 weeks ago, a House subcommittee passed a $3.5 trillion RECON that has since been reduced to another price tag. It's no longer 1.75, it's likely 1.95 or higher. I had started the week with telling you that Nancy Pelosi would likely call a vote on the RECON on Thursday night. She attempted to, but it did not happen. I'll explain to you why. Then I also told you that 3 provisions would be added in there. They have been added in there. So where are we right now? The RECON across these clusters of checks, many different checks, will pay the viewers of this channel upwards of about $15,000. This is after third stimulus was passed, and I said I can get you $15,000 from third stimulus. The average view of this channel from third stimulus has gotten $45,000. In this RECON, you'll get at least $15,000, but tonight you're going to see that you're going to get everything from third stimulus again and then you're going to get an additional potential $15,000. Let's go over the status of each of these clusters of checks. Get that pen and paper ready. Later in this video, stay with me till the very end. We're going to go over more about the nuance of every check and the eligibility. It's for you. Cluster number 1, checks passed in the subcommittee of the House. They all got into the House bill. And some of them are even bigger tonight. Hazard pay. They broadened this for one more year for those essential workers, about $1,500, hard, cold, back-end checks. Then $4,000 of elder care, got that in there as well. $4,000 checks for caring for young children. They got money in there for repair of the home if you're in a low-income community. This is hard, cold, cash checks. This is upfront checks. Then they got the CTC for one more year. That's $3,600 approximately if you're in a low-income family. This is hard, cold, cash checks. Finally, they got in there money for the Pell's grant, $550 for my college students. That's hard, cold, cash. And then the big surprise is that the money for the electric car is not going to be $7,500. It's going to be $12,500 back-end check for the purchase price of a new electric car. U.S. auto manufactured, 15% for a new electric bike as well. Wow. The second add-on check is a hard, cold cash check. It's an upfront cash check. And it is a check that brought me to emotions last night on Evening Delight, if you missed it, because I thought it was gone, and it helps a lot of people like Lynn Glenn. Here we go. Longtime viewer of this channel, Lynn Glenn. A check for the purchase price of your first home. Maxine Waters, the wonderful legislator from California, was trying to get $25,000. I don't think she got... Here we go. I don't think she got $25,000, but it is in there. Wow. Got it in there. A hard, cold cash check either given to you from the federal government or given by the federal government to the seller in your name during the escrow closing of the purchase price of your first home. It's in there. It is huge. It is a great check. And let's go to the second cluster of checks. And here we go. Which of these got in there? Which of them are out? And how much are they? Well, paid leave got in there. And medical leave, it was out and this back in there. They got the household tax credit in there. They got pre-kindergarten in there, community college out. And then they got the money to weatherize your home. Definitely need to weatherize your home, especially weatherize the driveway. If Joe Manchin starts driving up in that Maserati, you can't park your yacht in my driveway, Joe. There you go. All right, so the paid leave, paid medical leave, I have a lot about that later in this video, but it's thousands of dollars. It's hard, cold cash, up to 4 weeks of it per year. Then the pre-kindergarten, hard, cold cash, this is a check to you for that 1 year for a 3 to 4 year old to go to pre-kindergarten. Wow. Let's go to the second add-on check. This is likely a hard, cold check or a benefit check, maybe benefit offering. So what is it? It is paid home health care. They're either going to give you a check for it and then you pay for it, or they're just going to cover it through Medicare or Medicaid. What is it? It's free home health care for my seniors or people on disabilities. Wow. They're looking at $250 billion for Bob Casey. It's going to be a little bit less, but it's in there. Let's go to the third add-on of checks, and we got some deliciousness in this. Wow. The third add-on of checks, here we go. Which ones are in? Which ones are out? Well, they got money in this third cluster for free school meals for all, and $65 per month per child, hard, cold check cash while the kid is not in school. Cheaper prescription medication, not a check, just a lower benefit. Immigration reform is in there, no check for that. It's just a reform. Farmers, I don't know the status. The free internet, don't know the status. Clean energy out. The independent contractors money, I don't know about that. And then the dental, vision, and hearing, and the expansion of eligibility of Medicare, they got that in there. Let me explain that on camera. First, hearing is in there. We don't know if it's a check to you or a coverage benefit. It's for things like hearing aid. Dental and vision, which was supposed to be a check to you, is currently out, but Bernie says it's going in on the Senate. More about that later. Then expanding Medicare to those 12 states that were not going to offer it to you, they got it in there by offering to low-income families private insurance at a major discounted rate. That's coming up later in this video. They got it in there, which brings us to our third add-on, which of course is that MSC IRS stimulus check. What does MSC stand for? Monthly or multiple IRS stimulus check. The great news about it tonight is that you're going to see later in this video is that the legislators have said, you know, senators have a lot of work to do. Senators vowed to add a lot to this recon. So if you want to add a lot to this recon, here you go. We're getting it out of the House, Senate, over to the Senate. And that is why it's so important, because when you look at the senators, it's senators, Casey, Coons, Warren, Sanders, Schumer's, have said they're going to give you an MSC on top of this. Where are we right now tonight? The recon is incredible. It pays you on average across all these different clusters of checks, some up front, some back end, all across the board. For viewers of my channel, you're eligible for it, you qualify for this money, about $15,000. But there's a push underway to add on top of that more money. All the programs, including MSC. 2 opportunities to do it on the Senate side and 1 opportunity on the House side. First, the House side, I don't think it's going to happen. That is after the vote, after the recon bill gets to the House floor for a vote, but before the vote happens. That is by amendment on the House side. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Senate is really where the bread and butter is, and the senators have 2 opportunities now. 1, Votorama. The Votorama is a 2-day event at the very end of the voting process in the Senate, in which senators introduce amendments to the legislation. But this week, and starting yesterday, I detailed a new place where we likely would have changes as well. Senate Subcommittee. The recon has a lot of work to be done among those senators. They have a lot of provisions they want to add. You don't want to leave everything for 2 days, so you send it to a subcommittee. Who's in charge of the budgets? Bernie. Who's the budget chairman? Bernie. And who would send it to a subcommittee? Bernie. Who says he wants to give you a monthly stimulus check? Casey, Coons, Warren, Bernie, Chuck Schumer. And Chuck Schumer works hand in hand with the equation. That is why your advocacy shouldn't stop here. But in the second half of this video, we're going to go over this great sum of money you're going to get for this recon. It is great news. As a deal is happening, and this deal will pay you a lot of money, thousands of dollars across this recon. And while the voting may happen tonight, or may not happen tonight, I'll have the latest details. The price tag is 1.75. No, it's not. It's about 1.95 or higher, and this is causing question going into tonight's voting. Programs in, programs out. All 3 of programs I said were going to go in are going in and are in. And more programs could be added as well. Then we'll be turning to student loan debt forgiveness and more as we go into a big, bold, beautiful evening across the board. I'm excited for you. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as the excitement continues and Evenings LALATE continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now, direct from Santa Monica, California. I'm in the live chat, but the breaking news is the deal's happening in that recon, and the vote could happen tonight. The latest details unfolding across the board. Is the vote going to happen tonight? I have everything that is going across the board. With the price at flux, 1.95, not 1.75. What does this mean for you? I have all the latest. Then programs in, programs out, which programs have been removed, and which programs have been beefed up. Get that pen and paper ready because I have a lot of numbers for you. Deliciousness, upwards of $15,000 of checks across this incredible recon for viewers of this channel. Then, when we look at student loan debt forgiveness, more debt could be forgiven. Whose debts are going to get forgiven next? And then we go to fifth stimulus, just for a blink of an eye, as your benefits are going to go up right after that COLA raise. It's a big, bold, beautiful night. I'm excited you're here. And join me all weekend long because the situation is far from over. And this is LALATE, America's most talked about and most in-depth coverage of this subject matter. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Evening's Countdown, part of our 3-hour programming block that continues with Street and Stimulus 1 hour after that. 3 shows, Evenings, Countdown, and then Street and Stimulus. And then we go into Sirloin. So subscribe, like this video, and consider becoming a member to get that newsletter that comes out at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time this Friday night. And with that, let's go into the incredible dramatics that are unfolding across the board. We started this week different than last week, but it was last week that the changes started to change. And what were they? I had told you before last week, the mindset among the Democrats was, if the recon is not done for the Senate side, don't call for a vote on the House side. By Thursday last week, things changed. What changed? 2 different big items. First, an agreement among Pramila and Pelosi. And this was never covered in broadcast media, only really covered here. What was the agreement? I will not have, Pramila, I will not have the progressives block the roads and bridges if you call the recon and the roads and bridges at the same time and say publicly you're calling them concurrently. You're not going to call one at the time without the other. And Pelosi agreed. Pelosi repeated all this week they will be called concurrently, and in fact said that the roads and bridges would be called for a vote first on Thursday, and the recon first on Thursday, and the roads and bridges on Friday. But the second concession, or the second change, was the biggest, and what was that? That we're just going to send it to the Senate. We're done on the House side. If the senators want to haggle a little bit more, send it over to the Senate. We're not haggling. We're on the House. Why did this change? For a few reasons. One, there was a real sentiment that several people are sort of snowballing there, and that Bernie and Nancy said, you know what, we're just going to call your bluff. We really don't think you're against these provisions on the Senate side. We're going to just send it over to the Senate and let you vote against it. Number 2, that there was a little bit too much complaining among certain senators that people weren't saying, you're actually against this. You're just sort of a complainer. So just send it over to the Senate. And that is how the ball rolled. If you're with this channel last night, or a member, a subscriber, you got the alert, or an LA Alert System viewer, you got the alert from the LA Alert System, you got it posted on Twitter, and you got it from the membership link in YouTube, which was that the vote was teed up as of 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. As of 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time Thursday, the vote was going to happen on the recon. Representative Claiborne confirmed it. But by 7 o'clock, Nancy Pelosi was calling for, polling voters, polling House members how they would vote before she calls the vote. And the whip announcement showed they did not have enough votes. So by 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I sent the message out to viewers. No vote Thursday, recon rolling over to Friday with roads and bridges. Why was the recon not called for a vote on Thursday and all those situations solved as of tonight? Well, here you go. Ironically, everything that I had a problem with the recon was the reason why the recon was not passing on Thursday. Not substantive. No one's having a problem with the House members about the substance of the programs. It's the numbers, and each number is a cause of question. Number 1, since last Saturday, I had identified that several programs on the recon that are supposed to be 1 to 2, 3 years are using language of permanent, or lifetime. But that doesn't make sense. If it's only $100 billion, how can it be permanent? $100 billion doesn't cover it permanently. The second problem was that a joint committee on taxation report released early Thursday morning showed that there was missing $500 billion to pay for the recon. Yeah, we were told by the president that the recon was 100% paid for. 1.75 means it's 100% paid for. Not so, said a unfinished Joint Committee on Taxation report released Thursday morning, which showed only 1.4948 of the recon is paid for. Now, this is what I have been telling you all week long, that the price is right? Not particularly. What is the price tag? Even Thursday, some broadcast channels that don't really cover this subject matter well at all were calling it the $1.75 trillion recon. It was 1.75 days ago. It's now at least 1.95. Why? Because the paid leave is in there. It's $200 billion. Then the salt is now added. We don't know the price on that. And that the cheaper prescription medication has been added. We don't know the price tag on that. Well, the other issue is that finally, House Democrats say, I don't know what these prices are, and I don't want a Democratic caucus to tell it to me. I want an independent body, and that independent body is a Congressional Budget Office. They want them to do a report to say how much is each program, what is the total price tag, and what is paid for and what's not paid for. And they asked for that CBO on Wednesday, did not get on Wednesday, did not get it on Thursday. It takes more than one day to get the report. But as of Thursday night, those House members said, I'm not voting for the recon unless I have that CBO. As we go into this evening's broadcast, has anything changed of these three items? Not really. First, we don't know clarity about these language that says permanent when it's not permanent. Second, we don't know the price tag of some of these items that seem to be pushing the total recon over $2 trillion, and yet we don't have a definitive statement about it. And number three, we don't have clarity about how to pay for it. Would I hold it up for a CBO? I wouldn't. I would just want clarity. But here is how the situation is unfolding. I told you the House members say, just send it to the Senate. Send it to the Senate. Today, the new comments coming from the Senate House members is the same. These are all House members. And what do they all say? We're done on the House side. Send it to the Senate. Peter Welch, Vermont, says, we're at this point. Wait another week. It gets worse, not better. We need to stop talking. Just send it out. Then Anthony Brown from Maryland says a great bill language, vote House, send it over to Senate. I love it. Can I put it on a t-shirt? Rightfully so. A lot of people think we're spinning our wheels. We've covered this. You need to just lock it in and go on. Representative Scott Peters says we're making it look like it's a little more complicated than it is. Absolutely true across the board. So Nancy on Thursday morning said that the recon will go for a vote because we're going to pass both bodies of bills. Nancy is a totally different new Nancy this week because of potentially the agreement with Pramila, which is one. Nancy said yesterday, said all this week, the roads and bridges will vote after the recon. Two, that they'll go concurrently, meaning she's not going to call one without the other. So that clearly has been a great concession by Pramila. They did it quietly. You never saw one trashing the other in the press, and you never really saw it covered anywhere else except here. So with that, the next question is, of course, what provisions are in that recon and which provisions are out? Well, the details start right now with the paid leave. Paid leave is one of three programs I told you were going to be added to the recon this week, and it got in there. And it signals a little bit of where they are with this Senate House play. It was removed because of the Senate. It was put back in because they said, you know what, if you're a senator, just take it out. I can't keep on dealing with you. So the paid leave is a lot of money. Let's go over the numbers with you right now. Paid leave will pay you thousands of hard, cold cash checks to your hand. What is paid leave at issue? Paid leave is when you have to stay home from work because of the birth of a child or someone is sick in your household or you. That's very basically how it's defined in this recon. The great news is the eligibility. It's everyone, all income levels and all types of workers, whether you're W-2 or 1099. So let's say you make $200,000 a year, you have to stay home from work. Let's say you're a Macy's W-2 employee. Let's say you're an Uber Lyft worker who makes $40,000 a year. All of you, you're all covered. This is huge. How much is it? It's a lot. Under third stimulus, it was supposed to be $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. 4 weeks of that, up to 4 weeks of that, that's $5,000. $35,000 or more per year, that would be $800 a week. 4 weeks of that, that's $3,200. If it's $15,000 or more annual salary, that would be $400 a week. 4 weeks of that, that's $1,600. It's a lot of money. And this would be hard, cold cash paid to you. So this is a provision that was out, and now it's back in. It confirms Pelosi and Richard Neal. It's actually in the recon legislation. One thing which is important to make clear, if I didn't make clear earlier in the video, is that anything that's in the recon now is in the House bill. It's not coming out for purposes of the House. It could get supplemented on the Senate side. But the question is, how many changes are coming across the board? Well, let's go over the details of that starting right now. You see how many notes I bring on camera. But get that pen and paper ready. Let's go over some programs. Programs in, programs out. I love it. And you just heard about the paid leave in there. The second one I told you was going to add in there was a prescription medication. It got in there. And the last one I said it was going to be added was SALT. It was added yesterday. What is SALT? SALT is raising the cap on state and local tax deductions. What does this mean? When you go to prepare your IRS tax return, you are not able to write off more than $10,000 of state and local taxes on your federal return under the Trump 2017 tax overhaul. Now you'll be able to write off up to $72,500 of what you paid on your state and local tax return on your federal tax return. It's great. Great across the board, especially in big states like California, Texas, and New York and New Jersey. My mistake when I include Florida in there because they don't have state taxes. Nevada, because they don't have state taxes. All right, here we go. Paid family leave, $200 billion. You just saw that. That is a 10-year program. Child care got in there. Hearing care. This will either be a hard cold cash check to you for that hearing aid, or it'll be a coverage benefit, so you don't have to pay it out of pocket. Cheaper prescription medication, I'll go over that in a second. Job training, wow, this is a big surprise. $40 billion of free job training in there. Medicaid gap fix, big one. This is what I gave you a preview of earlier. 12 holdout states with Republican governors that did not want to offer you Obamacare will now provide you subsidized private insurance at low income prices to uninsured people in those states. Wow, that is incredible. Immigration reform in there, that is not a check. And that Fox News report that they're getting $400,000 checks, not true, not part of the recon, not part of anything. Housing aid, $150 billion for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, home repairs, and the purchase price of your first home. This is hard cold cash, upfront money. Then in-home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. This is a coverage benefit believed, not an actual check in your hand. Then college students, $550 checks for Pell's grant recipients right in your hand. Then comes the surprise. $12,500 of credits, back-end money, for the purchase price of an electric vehicle made in a union shop. So this is companies like GM and Chrysler, not Tesla, not Toyota. And it's just huge. Then $65 a month checks, hard cold cash, for a child who is staying home during the spring break from school. And then when they're in school, then it's a covered benefit. Wow. Let's do the prescription medication. The second add-on that got into that recon this week, as I said, it was going to go in there. This is huge. If you don't know the significance of it, it's 20 years in the making. When you look back at Medicare, 20 years ago when it rolled out prescription medication pricing, its charter agreement said Medicare has to pay whatever Big Pharma asks for. So if Big Pharma asks $1,000 for medication, they have to pay $600 to Big Pharma and charge you $400 for it. That's the way it was. That was the law of the land for 20 years. Over those 20 years, Big Pharma had 15-page lobbyists making sure the law did not change. They got to Kristen Sinema, and she was the holdout throughout this recon negotiation. But the big winner, the big achievement came from Joseph Biden Wednesday night, not this week, but last week. It was buried because of bad press relations at the White House. They ran the climate instead of this story. This was the story they should have won. What was his achievement? He got Kristen Sinema to say, I'll do it. I will do it. She backed off and she agreed to expand this across multiple plans of Medicare, and she is now blessing the recon. Kristen Sinema is completely on board with the recon. So what is this? It's huge. It will involve 28 prescription medications through the year 2028 with really big discounted prices. For the first time, Medicare can negotiate cheaper prices for prescription medication, and those prices cannot go up more than the rate of inflation each year. It'll start with about 20 medications, then ramp up to 28 medications. It includes Medicare Part B and Medicare Part D. For example, insulin that could have been hundreds of thousands of dollars per dose will be $35 a dose. Cancer and arthritis medication, very, very cheap. This is all for Medicare. And this includes Part B and Part D. As Ron Wyden says, for the first time ever, the government will no longer have its hands tied behind its back. It's a real sign of benefits. Chuck Schumer said that, yeah, it's great, and get ready for next year because we're going to do it again. This is a starting point. They are not done with this one. Sinema praised the moment. So did Dick Durbin. Bernie was happy, but wants more. And Scott Peters from California says, this is really good for seniors. And Jan Skakowski from Illinois says, I'm really happy they got this done, considering how many lobbyists were involved. Ron Wyden says it's transformative, and so did others. So that is the prescription medication, which brings us then to the next question, which is the silent parliamentarian programs in, programs out, price tag 1.75. Well, the Senate parliamentarian, who's a person, it's a woman in this who is a lifetime official, she's not a senator, will determine whether provisions in the RECON need to be removed because they cannot go by RECON. What are those two provisions? The first one is paid leave, and the second one is immigration reform. Immigration reform has previously been ruled by this parliamentarian cannot go by RECON. Do I think it's going to have to be taken out? I think it will. Number two, that paid leave may have to be removed as well. What is my thought about this? I think it's just rolling the dice. I don't see enough narrative about it. I see it 50-50 on this one. So this could be removed by the Senate parliamentarian as well. Which brings us then to the question of what's next? Will programs be removed? And while we see a deal on the House side, do we have this deal on the Senate side? Bernie Sanders a week ago said that there's a lot to be added to this RECON. And that is why you see what's going on in the House today. The House is saying, senators have a lot to add? Fine. We're done for purposes of the House. Send it over to the Senate. Let them work it up. Work it up in a subcommittee. And let's go over some of the quotes, because all these quotes now, almost a week old, are still relevant. Why? Bernie says the best bill since the 1960s, but still has major gaps. 80% of Bernie's gaps are still there tonight. So imagine, he is not letting this slide. He sent it to the House Senate Budget Committee, where he's the chairman of, and making those changes. We have Ron Wyden, who says there is a lot still to be done. He says there's a significant amount to do. It's not done until the Senate acts. Chris Coons says changes will happen. Jalapal and AOC said the senators are making changes. And Murphy, as a senator, says those changes are going to be made. And Chuck Schumer will have to make changes if the parliamentarian removes those two provisions. So you still have that pen and paper ready? Get ready, because we're going to make some notes about these hard, cold checks to you. But we're also going to see why the price tag of 1.75 is not accurate. It's actually higher. So here we go. Hard, cold cash checks for pre-kindergarten, 1 year for 3 to 4 year olds. Then the CTC running for one more year, $3,600 of hard, cold cash checks for you. But here comes the problem. I show it $60,000 annual salary, single individual, married couple 120. White House shows it 150 for a household. A household, which could be even a single person. I don't show that as the situation. That could include a lot more people getting the check. The earned income tax credit, $1,500 is a back end check. That is for my essential workers. And then the coverage of Medicaid coverage for home services for seniors and disabilities, it says a lifetime. Doesn't make sense because it's not being paid a lifetime. Hearing services, either as a hard cold check or a covered benefit on the back end, would be covered by Medicare. And then come some more items. The $150 billion for affordable housing. We have rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, home improvements like weatherize your home and those low-income repairs. And then the purchase price of your first home, all in there. That is $150 billion. This is all hard cold cash. Then college students, hard cold cash of $550 for their Pell Grant. And then parents, $65 of hard cold cash for a child that is not in school per month per child. And then free meals while in school. Are provisions still going into the RECON? They are going into the RECON, but not on the House side. The House side, they're done for now. Senate side will be adding stuff across the board. What other stuff? The Bernie stuff, at least. And what are the provisions? Dental and vision. Bernie Sanders said a week ago that we are the richest country in the globe. It's unconscionable we don't have money for teeth and vision. So what are those provisions? Let me go over them right now. They last were in the RECON as hard cold cash. Starting with the dental. It was last in the RECON as an $850 check in the mail to you for dental, to go spend on dental per year, like cleanings. Not a lot for procedures. That's why I thought the number should be higher. The originally dental was in there at 10 years as a covered benefit, then at 3 years as a covered benefit, then as just a hard cold cash check to you, a voucher of $850. It's now out. Is it going to stay out? Not on a Bernie's watch, I could say. I don't see it staying out. Then the vision. It should be in there. Vision is the cheapest of these. And Bernie wants an eye exam and eyeglasses per year per senior. Very easy. Just send a check out of $150 or make it a covered benefit. What would that be? Eye exam, $50, and a pair of glasses, $100, $150 a senior every year. Very, very simple. No excuse for it not to be in there. This is what you're going to see on the Senate side. You're not going to see this on the House side because the House members don't want to add it in there. They're leaving it for the senators to take care across the board. So then what? What remains across the board? Well, some of the numbers don't particularly line up. And those numbers that don't line up stem from things like child tax credit. $60,000 or less is what I show. I don't show it at $150,000. The paid leave, this is huge. It's so much money. It's thousands of dollars a year. Everyone always has a sick family member. You have to stay home from work. Everyone always has, some major event that you're sick that you have to stay home from work. And this would be 4 weeks per year, all income levels, all type of employees, all type of workers. One thing I didn't make clear, it's also temporary workers, so long as you have that job and it's continuing. So it's W-2, it's 1099, it's across the board. Then they also got in there clean energy out. They got in there childcare. They expand the housing, $175, and they got the in-home healthcare, $100, $200. Wow. Let's take a drop over to the student loan debt forgiveness. More debt could be forgiven. And I'm going to come back to my commentary of this situation in a second. More debt could be forgiven. The president has proposed $10,000 of student loan debt to be forgiven. The Democrats should take it. This would be on top of 3 rounds the president's already forgiven. The president forgave student loan debts for people who became disabled after graduation. The president forgave student loan debts for people who went to work in the nonprofit sector after graduation. And finally, the president forgave student loan debts for people who went to work in the public sector 10 years after graduation. The Democrats should take the $10,000 offer. Next, the big exciting details of COLA. Have you gotten that letter? Yes. Your Social Security benefits or your disability benefits are going up 5.9% starting in January. But get ready for 2 more lifts after that. That's fifth stimulus. And the Democrats are ecstatic and ready to do fifth stimulus. As soon as fifth stimulus heats up, you're going to see it on this channel. Fifth stimulus will have 2 more raises. First, a one-time raise for people on benefits, and then tying you to inflation. Let's do the calculation together. What would be that one-time raise? It's likely about 3% at least. And what is the inflation rate going to be? I've been telling you it's going to be 2 to 3%. Jay Powell this week on Capitol Hill, your chairman of the Federal Reserve, said he's looking at about 1 or 2% or 3% by next December. Let's do a 2 to 3% part of our calculation. First, your benefits will step up 5.9% in January. That's already confirmed. If fifth stimulus becomes law, then you'll get a second step up right away. That would be about 3%. Then when they apply the new benchmark, if inflation is, let's say, 2% next December, you'll go up 2% in January 2022. Wow. They're going to remove the asset cap, remove the income cap, remove the marriage penalty, and love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. Finally, my commentary, which brings us also into the newsletter. The newsletter comes out tonight at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time from the YouTube alert system and the LALATE alert system, and features the big money under first, second, and third stimulus for you to get. But why is it sort of my segue into my commentary tonight? Because of the numbers of this recon. It's a great recon, folks, this fourth stimulus recon. It is really good. Why is it so good? Because it has everything from third stimulus that has paid you big sums of money on this channel, again, so meaning you can get another round of it. And then it has more money of hard cold cash and back-end checks on top of that amount to about $15,000. That's a lot of money. That is a lot of cash for you. And boy, you should be happy when it becomes law. I'm going to show you how it becomes law. This is where information is king. And why is information king here? Because Donut Guy, he doesn't want information. He just wants to sit back and have things land in his hand. And he doesn't want to learn about anything. He doesn't want to read a newsletter. And he doesn't want to be informed about anything. In December 2020, not this year, but last year, viewers were separated very quickly. I showed people how to get money for rent and utilities in December 2020, and they learned. An example was Tyrone at the time, when it was hard to get rent in Boston, but I showed him how. He got it, and he got a lot. And at the time, I remember making the recording, people said, I called up one place, they said they had no money. I said, that's not what I said in the recordings. I say in the recordings, you call 6 places. We now show you 11 places to call. 6 from the government and 5 from the nonprofits. And he called and he got the money, paid his rent all the way to the new year. Even then, and much like now, you still see sort of repeats of certain Incorrect statements. There's no money where I live. Untrue. That you have to be behind in your bills. Untrue. That there's no money unless. Untrue, untrue, untrue. It's very easy to say there isn't if you don't make the effort to call. If you don't make the effort to learn, if you don't make the effort to be informed, it's very easy to say there isn't anything. There is. When third stimulus became law, it was an effort for me, trust me, when the first video aired, where I said I can get you an average of $15,000 on the third stimulus. What? I just wanted that $1,400 stimulus check. I said, you want more than $1,400, trust me. You want $15,000. And the average viewer of this channel has gotten $45,000. Moreover, the viewers have heard me repeatedly and have understood to get it from multiple sources. The big success from this channel has been people who have literally taken my information and taken it another level. They have gotten multiple rounds of this money on the third stimulus. They have heard me talk about the nonprofits and gotten other items paid like medication and medical bills. They have learned that you don't have to be behind on bills to get things paid. Rent. Let's look at bills right now. What bills are paid currently under third stimulus? Virtually every bill you have. All your utility bills are being paid on the third stimulus. Your rent, if you rent, is being paid. Either you're behind or you're not behind. Your mortgage is being paid if you're not behind or are behind. And also small appliances like furnaces and heaters from the nonprofits, and even some small home repairs like windows broken. Even medication, as one viewer got from the nonprofits. What is left that's not being paid under third stimulus? Bigger things like, broken roof or the car needs to be repaired. I've covered that a lot on this channel. I can't get every single bill paid, but I can get all these other bills paid, and boy, it's a lot of it. The great news is when you look at third stimulus, that's average about $45,000. That's being repeated again under fourth stimulus. So you'll be able to get another round of it. But third stimulus was $45 billion for that money. Fourth stimulus is $175 billion. Yeah, that's a big difference. And then come the new items under fourth stimulus we've never had. We've never had the home repairs, the weatherizing your home, the purchase price of your first home, the $65 for the college students, the $550 for the college students, the cheaper prescription medication, the dental potentially going in there at $850, the hearing aid. We've never had these provisions in there. There is money across the board. Who won't have money in this recon? People who make a lot of money. If you make $300,000 a year, $400,000 a year, God bless you. And if you're watching this channel, I can't help you. I've never been able to help you unless it's PPP or EIDL. If you're a senior, I can help you. If you're on disability, I can help you. If you are middle class or low income, I can help you. If you have no children, I can help you. That money is in this recon. And the money across all these incredible programs include front end and back end checks. When it's front end, I tell you. And when it's back end, I tell you. Differences across the board. Hard, cold cash checks in your hand. Back end things like when you buy the car, it's not giving you upfront, it's coming on the back end. Different details across the board. When it becomes law, I'll show you how it becomes. But that is why you should be happy. You should not stop advocating. You should not stop advocating for that MSC IRS stimulus check. But on the same hand, you should be getting something else, a pen and paper. Bring a pen and paper on camera each day when you listen to this recording and make notes. Make notes, and if something is not clear, as one viewer said yesterday, what's the eligibility? Is it 60 a person or 60 a family? Tonight I now see it was not even 60 a person, it's 60 a household, 60,000 a household for that particular provision. Ask informed questions. When you ask informed questions, it helps other people. When you say things from 2020 that we left on the wayside, like, there's nothing in the state of Alabama. Yeah, there is. It's just, you just have to have the accent for it when you ask for it. There is that money. Coming up next is a whole slate of programming. We have Evening's Countdown and we have Street and Stimulus. Meantime, join me throughout the night as I will be updating you whether the vote happens in the live chat and also by the alert system. And join me this weekend as the vote could happen this weekend as well. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers is a YouTube record. And once you're part of this incredible family, hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.